Gemini. So, this is your Halloween reading, and I just did this for you guys, and it did what my camera loves to do and my phone because I don't have the storage and it cut into two separate videos. And I hate doing that because sometimes they're hard to find and such. So, your cards are laid out already, and that's really weird. I never do it like that. But I felt like the message was cohesive, and it it vibes with what I've been getting for you guys during my pre-shuffle before I turned on the camera yesterday. Anyhow, so let's just jump into it. This reading is the Halloween reading. Over the years, I've decided that the Halloween readings are for who I'm addressing at the time. Cross-watchers are always welcome, of course, but Gemini, this one's for you. For my Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Now, if it resonates, cool. Let me know in the comments down below. You guys know it's my favorite part of the gig. If it does not, however, resonate, you can check out your moon and ascendant signs, and also your Venus, as love does creep into these readings. Gemini, you will know if this is your story. If it doesn't fit, don't try to make it. You'll know if I'm talking to you, okay? So, as I said, there you are peeking out there. I already had your cards all laid out, but I was rambling too long, I believe, so that's probably why. And I pulled some channeled messages in between that and the oracle, so that I think is what screwed me. I have some notes though from your pre-shuffle from like last night. You guys are getting a lot of fours, a lot of four energy over and over and over again, and twos. You also have twos here. So some of you guys could be life path 2, 4. You might want to check that out. Some of you guys could just be really looking for stability, practicality, moving forward in a positive direction, progression. If you look into the meanings of the 4 in tarot, that's what it's about. You know, foundations, stability, and 2s obviously are about partnership, but they're also about making choices and things of that nature. So if it's so, entices you, you may want to check that out. Do a little reading on like what those numbers might mean. So the Halloween reading goes like this: the ghosts of your past that are still haunting you, the goblins in the present that are pissing you off, and the pumpkins to harvest for a brighter future. So let's start with the ghosts. As I said, you guys were having a lot of 2 energy. So predominantly last night it was the 2 of Cups, and she came out again today. And then we have here, right after that fell out, the 2 of Pentacles. So for me as a reader, the 2 of Cups, a lot of people are like, oh, soulmate, love energy, love connection, romance. Yes, that's all well and good. But for me, soulmates can mean many things. And this could just be a connection with someone that you had in the past that you are really rethinking, that's been on your mind heavily lately again. A lot of indecision is here, Gemini, which is really odd for you guys. I feel like Gemini, you guys are very analytical, and I feel like you typically know which way you want to go. So it's odd to see this really murky energy here for you. The 2 of Pentacles is about weighing out your options. And in the past, maybe you could have made a wrong choice when it comes to a friendship or a love situation. But I feel like this indecision is kind of just like a blanket term for how you guys are feeling lately. Because the goblins that we have pissing you off presently are the 7 of Cups. Now, this card kind of gets a bad rap because it is about self-delusion, or just delusion in general, self-deception, illusion. I always used to say that it's the card of like people blowing smoke up your ass, Gemini. So presently, if there's someone extending an offer to you, whether it be a job offer, a relationship offer, a friendship offer, anything of that nature, really use discernment to figure out the next steps, because this can very well be, again, people blowing smoke up your ass and not intending to, you know, not intending the best for you, right? Um, Especially here with the Two of Pentacles and the ghosts from you haunting your past. Like, again, it could be a love situation, but I feel like this is just generally, maybe you guys feel like generally lately, everywhere you go is, you know, people not being authentic, right? So really take this time to whatever it is you're stepping into. I mean, this is kind of vague, obvious, like, it's kind of like the advice, but really take the time to cross the T's and dot the I's and go through everything that, say someone's presenting to you, because you're having a hard time right now making decisions and feeling sure-footed. I just heard that's a weird phrase. um let's get into your pumpkins, though. The pumpkins to harvest for a brighter future are beautiful. They're the 6 and 7 of wands, right? The 6 of wands is about victory, it's about triumph. It is about if you're feeling ready to declare feelings to someone. Typically they're well received. And we have here the 7 of wands. This is the card of you standing your ground, sticking up for yourself. This is also the card of the advocate, sticking up for someone who may not be able to stick up for themselves, Gemini. You know, you're standing your ground. And I feel like you kind of have like a aha moment in the near future after all this like cloudy, foggy energy coming through. And you're going to be back to your normal selves and be putting your foot down and being like, no, you know, I'm all set with your offer. I'm all set with, I've thought about it. I've rethought about it. I've, outsourced advice about it. Um, and this is how it's going to change if we're going to move on forward with it. This is what I want to see out of this situation. And you guys are really, like, taking this time to get out of that confusing energy, to step back into this energy that typically I do know Geminis to be. Very lighthearted, very fun, very, life of the party. Um, this could be, you getting back into the social, more of a social aspect of your life, but not letting people walk all over you, Gemini, right? I feel like maybe presently or in the recent past, people have taken advantage of your good nature and tried to pull the wool over your eyes. And though they may not have done it, it's come close enough to the point where you've had to step back and zoom out and be like, okay, I really need to focus on what they're saying and what they're showing me. Because those could be two very, very different things, right? But I feel like if you guys just take the time to step back and think for yourself and not worry about being a people pleaser and not worrying about having to say no to people, not worrying about, you know, saying yes to a situation just because you feel like maybe nothing better is going to come along, you know, always wait, Gemini. If you're not sure about something, there's a reason. Your intuition is telling you that you're not sure about this situation because of XYZ, you know, and it's time to stick up for yourself and really put out into the world what you want. That's okay. It's not selfish to, be like, well, that's great, but this is what I want. This is what I need right now. This are my needs right now, Um, so that was basically the beginning portion of your reading. And I pulled a couple of channeled messages from my little stack here, and I noticed that the video kind of like stuttered for a second, but I continued anyway. And sure enough, the last like 2.5 minutes was of the oracle pull was in another video. This just flew out very, very deliberately. The Hanged Man in the reverse. So the Hangman in the upright is you needing to look at your situation from a different perspective, and feeling stuck. In the reverse, I feel like that it is that to such a more severe degree, Gemini. You know, the Hanged Man didn't put him, he was not put here. He put himself here. And see that glowing aura around his head? It's because he's actually enlightened and he is taking a different look at the situation at hand. Maybe that's what you guys need. Maybe you guys just need to, you know, travel a little bit if you can. I know shit right now for anybody isn't too great, like money-wise, but maybe you just need to get out of the house, get out of your head, and go for a walk and take a drive out of town or whatever you can do just to get a different perspective. Because that very deliberately, when I just went to move the deck aside, flipped upwards and looked at me like, hey, what's up? Since we do have time, because I didn't have to shuffle the whole time, I will pull 1 or 2 channel messages and we'll pull a couple cards from the Wicked deck, or the Witch's Oracle as it's renamed years later. Alright, any channel messages for my Gemini friends here? It is always the darkest before dawn. I mean, some of these are things, obviously, that are sayings that were coming to me when I was doing these, or when this isn't a one-time deck, it's just something I've been putting together over a long period of time. Alright, what does that say? And we'll pull one more, and then I'll pull your oracles, so it doesn't go into a two-parter. Okay, maybe it's time to move on, question mark. And this one says, oh, there's 2. It's not always better to be safe than sorry. Take a chance. And what does being present mean or look like to you? Take a step back. Funny. When you get the feeling and look around, absorb your surroundings, good or bad. Interesting. Why would I say good or bad? The channeling stuff I don't really remember all the time happening. Sometimes it happens with these readings too. Someone will be like, oh, you remember when you said that? I'm like, no, I don't remember that. But I think it's funny that it touched on stepping back and zooming out, you know, taking a minute to recalibrate, I guess, because that's kind of what this reading is about for you guys. So let's pull 1 or 2 oracle cards here for you, and I hope that this helps. This just jumped out. 7, Gaia, healing. I very rarely pull this for anybody. I hate that glare. What the hell is up with that? Because I'm doing this in my room and it's very shitty lighting in here. Alright, what else? We have validating, or maybe something that we're not seeing for Gemini. Validating or otherwise message. Maybe something new that we need to look at for Gemini, please. I think I missed last year doing the Halloween readings, but I usually do them every year. This is my 7th or 8th year on YouTube. Not obviously consistently, because there's been a lot of ups and downs in between, but whoa, holy stack of cards. Interesting. Candle, illumination. Maybe that's you needing to illuminate the situation, look at the situation for what it is. It fell right underneath the 7 of Cups. I feel like this healing thing is going to be separate. Cauldron. Okay. No, I'm taking spell and cauldron. I feel like the healing one isn't really. maybe that's a side message. Okay, 15 minutes, so I gotta get jamming on this. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna read the first two cards that I feel like apply the most. We have Candle here, Illumination. Okay. Is that 16? Okay. Candle is a sign of you holding yourself as an example to life. You may have felt worn down or overworked recently in order to fulfill demands. However, you can be sure that if you're making sacrifices for the benefit of the greater good, your life will shine with radiance as a result. Candle can also reveal that you are about to be burnt out. Perhaps things have been getting out of control. Lessons need to be learned about energy management and how to improve it. Ground yourself regularly, and it will assist with the situation. Okay? That's that cloudy, like heady energy lately, or non-heady energy lately that you guys usually are so tapped into. And I'm going to read the spell because I feel like that is the other connecting message for you. Okay? Spell indicates that enchantment is in the air, that a magical time is coming into your life, especially if you've been calling for something. Spell also advises for you to look at self-deception and self-delusion. You may well find out that you wake up from a dream or an illusion when this card appears. See life as it presents itself, and remember that if you are to follow the ways of the wise, you will be shown the truth, expect it to be revealed. My video is about to cut out, I know. So let's talk about it in the comments if you want, Gemini. I hope that helps. I love you all very much. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you for everything.